The fallout continues after Manchester United's appalling performance against Newcastle a couple of days ago. The honeymoon, I don't think, even started with Ralf Rangnick and his side. He came out and said in those 2 or 3 training sessions, the team looked good. Therefore, it was a bit of a negative surprise, the way that we played with regard to game speed and game tempo and physicality. What is striking is that reports already in the UK media suggest the players don't like the new coach. Don, we're hearing the fact they don't like being asked to work harder.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, it's incredible. It just shows you what the egos are like at Man United. And 3 or 4 of them just don't fancy either the new management, a new management style. As you said, to work harder. You see the effect that Antonio Conte's had on the Tottenham players. They look fitter. The Man United attitude and body language against Newcastle the other day was horrendous. I mean, I think it's a little bit of a con what he's asking them to do. He's playing this sort of 4-2-2-2 that looks a little bit sexy, but out of possession. As you can see there, Bruno Fernandes is never ever going to want to play left wing. He's not going to want to track back, so he's not happy. Ronaldo's certainly not happy. You know, Rashford's completely out of form, and then you've still got Fred and McTominay in the middle of the park. So listen, he's got some serious work to do to try and get Man United anywhere near the top 4.
Stevie, reports are the players don't like training late and driving home in the dark.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Oh.
I mean, what can you say to that? There's really, you can't come up with any real. It's just ridiculous. I'm speechless. It's ridiculous.
The trouble is several things. One, I'd love to know who the ones are that have complained.
Yep.
Maybe we'll get to find that out at some point. But I'd love to know who, because it won't be them all. Maybe it is. I might be wrong, but it'll be 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4. But there's always bad apples. The problem is, as I was saying the other day, this is a consequence of having players at a club under a previous regime and management that lacked accountability. There's been no accountability. This should have been all flushed out. All these players with the attitude problem should have been flushed out a long time ago. But they were left to fester under a manager who they knew wasn't good enough, and they could pretty much get away with doing just enough.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just enough under Solskjaer. He'll carry the can, because eventually he'll lose his job. We've got contracts, so we'll just kind of muddle on and we'll see what happens. And as soon as somebody comes in and says, right, slams the fist down, says, right, no, this is not right, we need to change this, change that, all of a sudden this attitude rears its head again. But it is a consequence of sitting there for a couple of years and saying everything's okay when it's not been. And as Don said, that's going to be the difficulty for Rangnick coming in. Whether he's the guy or not, I don't know. But his biggest job now is making these players to a stage of professionalism to start with, that they're going to be able to go out and do a job.
Do you know if you think
that's a sad state of affairs, Stevie, when we're talking about players at that level.
Ferguson.
Yep.
Right. Let's think back to Alex Ferguson, right? What was the one thing that Fergie always said? He always said the most important person at the football club has to be the manager. Yep. That is absolutely has not been the case under Ole, because clearly there are players that think they're superior to him, they're stations above him, and this guy Rangnick coming in, who has no real, you know, he's been kind of an outsider. He's not been a head coach. He's not been a manager. He's not been a Fergie or a Dalglish or a Stein or anybody. You know, he's not the person that people look to, and certainly the person that you're scared of, because all of them. I mean, you cross them, boy, you knew all about it. So the fact that Rangnick's come in, nothing's changed. Craig used the word accountability. The fact is that they're not scared of anybody. They're too big for the club. And again, as I started with, Fergie always said it. The biggest character and the main man has to be the manager. And right now, and certainly for the last 3-4 years, that's not been the case.
From a player's perspective, Frank, you've got to question, well, where's the pride? Where's the desire to be better, to reward the fans that are paying this money to see them week in, week out?
Yeah, that should be the question. The thing is, I think Manchester United became exactly the club who lost the power of the institution, where the players took over and are the most powerful. We can name another club, Paris Saint-Germain, where Emery and Tuchel were kicked out because they couldn't be legitimate. And that's the case for Rangnick. It could have been the case for Real Madrid when they got somebody and they were looking for the right one. And the right one became Zinedine Zidane. But they would have taken somebody else. They would have had the same problem. So it's exactly what's going on right now in Manchester United. It's where some players think they're better or they're more important than the institution. So now it's difficult to just to answer to your question, to realize that as a player, you have to give everything to the club. You have to give more than 100% to make sure that everybody sticks together, work together, and you save the club. But some players, and as Craig said, we don't know how many they are, think they are more important, and the club should take care of them before they should take care of the club. That's the main problem. I don't know how to sort that problem out. We can see that in Paris Saint-Germain, it's difficult. And it's again difficult for Pochettino. So maybe somebody like Rice should be the coach. I don't know if Zinedine Zidane would be the right one. But it seems to be that the dressing room will still be more powerful than the institution. And Manchester United has to solve that problem.
Don, you know who they should maybe have got? Maybe that Antonio Conte guy.
Yeah, that was a funny one, wasn't it? I mean, the best manager in the world at the time, who was out of a job that they could have got in.
Who would go in and he would kick them up the backside and they would have to listen or they'd be out.
Absolutely, because what he's doing to the Tottenham side and the Tottenham individuals is incredible. The stats, the running stats for Tottenham under Nuno, they were bottom of the Premier League. Now under Antonio Conte, they've gone from bottom to the top. They're doing 14k more under Antonio Conte. And correct me if I'm wrong, the only manager out of Ole, Michael Carrick and Ralf Rangnick who's had the bottle to leave Bruno Fernandes and Ronaldo on the bench was actually Michael Carrick. So the problems is the guys are saying, has Rangnick got the power to say to Bruno Fernandes, you're not playing? I don't really fancy you in this new system. Has he got the power really to say to Ronaldo, you're not playing? He might have the power to do it on one sort of given day or one match day, but let me tell you now, Ronaldo's not going to be happy. He's going to be on the phone to his agent, and one or two others will as well. That's the problem. That's the culture at Man United at the moment. The thing with Conte, what he brings, it brings authority. The Tottenham players will all know they're on last chance saloon. If they don't do it under him, because they didn't under Jose, didn't under Nuno, to a certain extent, not really under Poch. And under Antonio Conte, he's saying, listen, you've had enough managers. You need to start looking in the mirror because it can't be the manager's fault. If you don't do it under me, your history, you've gone. I don't think that's the case at Man United.
Well, he's going to have the bottle to leave people out, otherwise he's not going to get results, right? And he's going to look particularly bad, even though at the moment he's on a 6-month contract as a manager. I'm sure he wants that extended. Who wouldn't, managing Manchester United? But he's not going to get that extended if he doesn't get results, and so he'll have to make some big decisions. When you walk into a club as an interim manager, when everything's when you get players on side, it's great. But when you walk in and you find this scenario, the difficulty is, as we see the league position, it's a tenuous league position in terms of getting in that top 4. It's going to be a battle. But the problem is you go in and players know you're on a 6-month deal.
And does that
so the players that are already swinging the lead a little bit might think, well, just carry on for a bit because he'll be off and somebody else will come in. That's the difference with bringing in somebody like Antonio Conte, who was available, who comes in and says he's all right. He doesn't stay at clubs that long, maybe 3 or 4 years. Does a job and he's gone. But comes in and says, look, X, Y, Z need to get them out. They're not playing. Bosh, done. When a manager comes in a 6-month deal, the words don't resonate the same with the board, particularly when you're not getting results and performance. They start to doubt their own decision, and they start to doubt that trust process in the manager. That's the problems that United are facing at the moment. That everything's short term,
and the players know that.
And the players know that, and subconsciously, a lot of times they won't go that extra little bit of that extra inch, that extra mile, that extra sprint for you, and that could be the difference at elite level between getting results and getting a job and getting the sack.
I can assure you, when you're the interim coach, because I've done it a couple of times, your position is not about 12 months or 6 months or whatever it is down the line. It's about the next game. It's about getting results quickly. And to do that, sometimes you can't do what Rangnick we're talking about doing. He can't go in and just say, right, you're not running, out. You're in a position where you're kind of in between, and so what you try to do is get everybody on side. And when you try to get everybody on side, the last option you have is to look somebody in the face and stick your finger right in them and say, right, you need to do this, you need to do that. Rangnick's still in the process of coaxing people. It's not orders. He's trying to be nice. He's trying to help them. Let's do it this way. We need to do this. So because, again, you're looking at a board of directors who've decided to get a guy as an interim, then you got to understand that with that comes the position of being in between. You're not going to go around annoying everybody and as I said, sticking your finger in the face. You're trying to get everybody on side. And so while the manager's trying to be nice, then the players that we're talking about who are taking the mickey basically are going to continue to do it. So nothing's going to change.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPNFC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.